Hey guys, Dr. James Sherman with Cornerstone Chiropractic. I'm here with Liz Kahn with You Be Well. And part of our challenge and what we want to do for you guys this year is we want to do consistent videos to drastically increase the quality of your life, your friends, and family's lives as well by making small, little changes at a time, right?
Yeah. This is the building blocks of making those lifestyle changes that seem really daunting when we're first told about them. So, yeah.
Yeah, what we're not going to do is tell you to change 17 things in your life, go completely organic, and work out 17 times a week.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Something to work up to if that resonates with you. Right. And if it doesn't, we're going to do our best to make things as easy as possible because, frankly, what I've learned in my work is that the more challenging I make it, the less likely people are to actually follow through. So we don't need to justify. We don't need to make excuses. We're going to make it as easy as possible for you to make the changes that you want in your life because it's your life, not ours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I'm just going to go in a completely different direction, but that's perfect. What we want you to do is to find out what you truly want. Yeah. So many times in life, what happens is we see 17 other people in our lives that we look up to or around us, and we see all these great things that they're doing, and we get off track of our purpose, and we get off track of
right.
what we feel like we need to be and who we are.
Right, thinking that we should be doing something like what they're doing.
Yeah. And then it's great that they're doing what they're doing, but if you start to do what they're doing, I mean, you're minimizing the chances of you living that true, authentic life.
That's meant for you.
Yeah, and that deep down in your heart you were created for. And so Tony Robbins talks about golf, and he says when you find out where you're at and you're not happy with it, a lot of times you're really just 1, maybe 2 degrees off. And what he talks about is the club, and when he says you change the face of the club by 1 or 2 degrees, over 200 yards, that can go over 50 feet. It can go a ton of different directions. So by just making small changes, consistent changes, and staying consistent with those, by the end of this year, at the end of this month, if you just do 1 or 2 different things, you can drastically change the quality of your life and where you are. And
you hit on this other word that is always part of my world, consistency. Yeah. And consistency is funny because this is where we get into, and we talked about this a little last week too, the notion that consistency sometimes gets in the way of the flow, right? So if I'm out and I know I'm supposed to be eating healthy, and I know we talked about this last week, but McDonald's is right there and I'm late, I'm not going to be necessarily consistent every single day. Consistency is a huge concept, and it's one that we're going to dive into further this year. So I think, this can tie back in. We want you to find one thing that you can be consistent about, and even if you have to hit it in at the end of the day, can we bring it up now?
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about gratitude.
Perfect.
Yeah. Because gratitude is not something that you have to make 30 minutes of time in your day for, and it's not something that you have to beat yourself up for if you missed it as you go to bed at night. What was I grateful for? That is a phenomenal time, even at the end of the day, to reflect and say, what happened today that really I am grateful for? Who did I encounter? What did I learn? What was I able to do for someone else? Because that's sometimes a really big thing. Gratitude. Is that something that you can incorporate into your life every day, just a little bit? Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the first thing we can start being consistent with.
I love it. And honestly, we're not going to do a lot of mandatory things, but I think that one thing would be, finding some time, just even like you were saying, just a couple minutes, and just think back over this last year, think about going forward, just at least 1 to 3 things that you are grateful for. And it's going to be pretty amazing, the ripple effect, because when you are in a state of gratitude, when you are in a place that you feel love and compassion and gratefulness for something that has happened, that is going to happen, whatever, you just become in a different place. You start to see the world in a different way.
Yeah, it shifts your emotional state. So if I've had a rough day and I'm thinking, wow, look at all these awful things that I had to deal with today, it has a physiological effect.
Absolutely does.
Now, if I can interrupt that and say, okay, so it was a rough day, was there anything in this day that I can really latch on to that I was grateful for? And if I may, like on Sunday, I was in a lot of pain, and I was really grateful that I called him, and he was able to see me. Because this is where gratitude shows up. I was in so much pain, and I asked myself, what can I do to get myself out of pain? And by the end of the day, I'm shouting the praises of this man because he's able to make some time, right? And so those are some of the things that we have to look for, even in the midst of things that are difficult.
Absolutely.
It's not always going to be possible to call your doctor on a Sunday and get seen. So finding a way to create your environment so that you can connect with someone on an emergency level.
It was cool that you reached out to myself, but you also reached out to two or three other people that you were close with. And so a lot of times, I don't know, I just think that it's so incredible that when you just reach out, to a friend or a family member or somebody, a lot of times they are more than willing to help you through what you're going through.
Absolutely. And it's those times when we are, on the phone with our friends saying all these awful things are happening that it's really hard to find those places of gratitude.
Yeah.
And so being able to say, all right, help me out here because I've got to find something I'm grateful for. Even if in that moment what I'm grateful for is that I'm on the phone with my best friend who's telling me, put some peppermint oil on it, or go get some Bengay, or call your doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's cool because, you definitely need somebody to be able to, and we're going to dive into this in a different video. We want to keep them kind of short for you, but we're definitely going to dive into your emotions, and we've been kind of touching a little bit on it, but we're going to dive deep into emotions, how they're extremely important, and how they can be extremely limiting in your life as well. So, but you need to be in touch with your emotions, I would definitely say.
Well, and gratitude always pulls my emotion in a different direction.
Absolutely.
And so, physiologically, emotionally, gratitude can shift your position. Yeah. And so, if this is one of our first 2018 actionable steps for all of you, find some gratitude. And, with journals, some people say you got to just bullet it, right? If you're going to do a gratitude journal, which many people do, and some of the most successful people on earth say that they keep gratitude journals, right? It helps them also stay connected to the people who help them get there. But, it's something to say, your first bullet, Lisi told me about an intervention, whatever. Sometimes you want to expand on those bullets. And that can actually take, a whole different neurological pathway, which is going to have a whole different ripple effect. So if you take 2 minutes to really dive deep into or maybe even not dive deep, but dive a little bit more deeply than just the bullet, you can end up having a really phenomenal change that comes from a really difficult time.
And we're both nerds, so we both love the reticular activating system and how when you set your mind on something or you set your focus, because where focus goes, energy flows, where you set your focus, your reticular activating system in your brain starts to seek out different things that point out that true belief, to make it a belief.
Yes, there is the reticular activating system.
What do you do?
This is actually something that we've just installed in the office too, and I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. But gratitude is the new mental cleanse, right? So even if you're not doing a journal, we have this. People drop in little notes here that tell us what they're grateful for. This is just a little painted jar. And, having that to be able to dip into sometimes also. Yeah. If you're having a tough day and you can't find something to be grateful for, dip into your jar.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, if you want to know anything about a certain area, whether it's your mental health, whether it's emotions, whether it's your physical health, different nutritional questions, leave a comment below.
Yeah.
Give us a question, and then we'll start to dive deeper into those areas as we go along this journey of 2018. Until next time.